It's a very important day in our nation's history, the day when the commissioning of the Dangote, the long-awaited Dangote Refinery, is finally going to happen this morning. And rather than take you straight to the newspaper, we have joining us online Bala Zaka, Energy and Public Affairs Analyst, to give us his perspective on what appears to be a very big occasion. Good morning, Bala.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, and I greet our viewers across the globe.
Thank you very much, Bala. I understand you are in Lagos, and I know how difficult it can be trying to navigate the traffic this morning. But a very big development in our nation history, the coming on stream of the Dangote Refinery that has been in the work for a very long time. Tell us, how significant is this refinery, especially with regards to turning around the fortune of our country with regards to the supply of petroleum to the various sectors of our economy?
The commissioning of the Dangote Refinery today and the eventual kickoff of refining and petrochemical activities will have a significant, and in this case, a positive effect on the economy of Nigeria. It will have a positive effect on the economy of the West African sub-region, the continent of Africa, and the global oil and gas industry, especially the downstream sector of the global oil and gas industry.
All right, Bala, the world is talking about an energy transition. Is this commissioning something we should be excited about in the face of various advanced countries already putting dates to when they will completely migrate away from fossil fuel?
No, there is a very serious misconception. There is a serious lack of understanding. I can tell you that as I speak to you right now, some countries are still generating energy using coal. South Africa generates a lot of its energy and power using coal, and they use that to drive the economy. China does the same. So when you talk about fossil fuel, in this case, crude oil and gas, it's a lesser toxic source of energy compared to coal. But as we also speak, there are certain things a lot of people do not really understand. When you talk about this transition to renewable energy, it's something that is going to happen in centuries to come. A practical example is this. If you ask somebody, supposing you are constructing a road today, are you not going to require bitumen again? How do you get bitumen? Bitumen is like a residue, when you are refining crude oil. After you are able to get your diesel, your petrol, your kerosene, and the rest, bitumen is among the heavy products that come. So the drive towards cleaner fossil is what we should be talking about. And when we talk about cleaner fossil fuel, we are talking about gas. But even when you talk about internal combustion engines, for many years to come, there will still be the energy drivers.
All right, but Nigerians have expressed all kinds of excitement, and rightly so, about the commencement of this refinery. But is it yet uhuru for us? Because, this is a private refinery that is in need for business. Does the coming on stream of this refinery completely wipe off some of the challenges that we have seen, especially in the downstream sector, with the supply of petroleum products across the country, and even Jet A1 fuel, which has seen the prices of flight, for instance, skyrocket significantly, and of course diesel to businesses who are currently buying somewhere in the region of 800 naira. What does this realistically imply for the average Nigerian user?
Well, practically, it's not yet uhuru for Nigeria, because like you rightly said, private initiatives are completely different. Private initiatives are after profit maximization and cost minimization. So when I hear people talking about Dangote Refinery and they are saying it is going to come and solve the problems of Nigeria, in terms of solving the energy, the requirement for distillate for Nigeria, I say it may solve, it may cushion our problems like probably 25%, but 75% of that aspect of the problem must be solved by government. And I will explain clearly. You know, when you talk about private initiatives, whether companies or factories, are not established because the investors love the citizens. They are established because the investors carry out their feasibility studies and discover that they will maximize profit and minimize cost. So to that extent, it is not private initiatives that provide goods and services. It is government that provides goods and services. And when people are talking about this Dangote refinery, nobody is asking, where did Dangote get the funding from? Dangote will have gotten the funding from either of two opportunities, either from financial institutions that we technically call creditors. So if Dangote got the funding from creditors, won't Dangote pay the cost of debt? Dangote will pay the cost of debt. And for Dangote to be able to do that, Dangote must be able to maximize profit, remain afloat and pay the cost of debt that we technically call interest. And if Dangote got the funds from shareholders, Dangote must pay them dividend. The only way Dangote can remain in business and pay them dividend is by maximizing profit. So that's something that everybody needs to understand.
All right.
Then when you talk about a private initiative like a Dangote, Dangote will not be sold crude oil at local prices. It must be sold crude oil at international price, like any other offshore refinery. The only difference is that the distance from the point of refining and where the crude oil will come is shorter, unlike in those days when crude oil will be sold and taken offshore. So at the end of the day, Dangote is likely to buy at international price. And when Dangote buys at international price, because Dangote is a private initiative, Dangote will sell back to Nigeria at international price. But it's still likely going to be cheaper compared to where you get vessels, you get security insurance, to ship refined petroleum products from offshore refineries.
All right. Before we let you go, I understand you have a lot of media engagement lined up for today. Learning from what Dangote has done as an individual, what crucial lessons are there, for us, whether as a people or as the federal government of Nigeria, with regards to what appears to be the endless turnaround maintenance of our local refinery?
Thank you very much for that excellent question. What I want to say is this: we need more Dangotes. We need Dangotes in health. We need Dangotes in education. We need Dangotes in security. We need Dangotes in agriculture. So what I tell our government to do is this: when we have Dangotes like this, it is the responsibility of government to encourage them by either giving them tax holidays or guaranteeing them security. Because at the end of the day, they would recruit human capital. And when they recruit those staff, the staff will work and they will earn what we call income. Their disposable income will go up, which will be good. At the end of the day, they will comply with their civic responsibilities of paying taxes and levies. But at the end of the day, it is the state-owned refineries that should work. Because in the days of Gaddafi of Libya, they had functional state-owned refineries. Saudi Arabia has functional state-owned refineries. Malaysia, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Qatar, they all have state-owned functional refineries. It is government that provides goods and services. Private initiatives are after profit maximization. And that is why you will see government will construct roads that will pass through communities, whether they have thieves or criminal or mad people, they must construct the roads. When government is trying to construct public schools or public hospitals, whether they love the people in those communities or not, they must do that, because that is the responsibility of government. But for private initiatives, they target only places where they can maximize profit and minimize costs. Though in the process, they may employ citizens, they may employ accountants, they may employ engineers, they may employ cleaners, but they are not employing them because they love them. They are employing them because they want to use them to maximize profit. But in terms of government, whether they love the citizens or not, they must provide public schools, they must provide public hospitals, they must provide roads. And these are the things that we need. But we need to encourage more Dangotes in different spheres of the economy, because at the end of the day, it will grow the aggregate mobility of the economy, and Nigeria will be better for it.
All right. Talking about encouraging more Dangotes, is this enough? When you talk about investment in the downstream sector, do we still need more of these refineries? I say this in the light of the fact that you will recall, as an energy expert yourself, that we have issued out countless modular refinery licenses in this country. We have even issued out other refinery licenses, captive refinery licenses. What is happening to all of those licenses? Are we giving license to people who don't have the technical ability or who are finding it difficult to source the financing for this project to take off? Where do we go from here now that we have been able to achieve a Dangote refinery?
I think it's the government that will be able to explain why all the licensing awards and rounds have been failing. But as far as I'm concerned, we need so many of them. When you go to a place like Saudi Arabia, they have so many refineries. They have so many petrochemical industries. And if you look at them, they are just a monoproduct economy. So when people say Nigeria is not doing well because we're a monoproduct economy, it's not correct. It is the creativity, and the initiative and dexterity of leaders that will make your monoproduct economy to become diversified. When you go to Libya of Gaddafi, it was a monoproduct. The whole of United Arab Emirates used to be a desert. They only relied on just crude oil and gas. But today, they use the revenues, and you can go there and get the best of hospitals, the best of schools, and the best of hospitalities. So at the end of the day, for private initiatives, what Nigerian government can do, she can encourage like this kind of Dangote. Even if we have 20 refineries in Nigeria, it's a good thing as private initiative. What government will do now, government can help them. They can construct rail lines across the West African sub-region. You can imagine a situation where refineries from Nigeria are those supplying petrol, kerosene, cooking gas to the West African sub-region. All they need is to construct rail lines and pipelines. Before you know, those private initiatives in Nigeria will be those having depots in all the West African sub-region, all the countries. And before you know, Nigeria, we will have Nigerian engineers there, Nigerian technicians, Nigerian accountants, and the rest. So at the end of the day, it will boost the revenues of the country because they will be paying their taxes. And at the end of the day, the standard of life of Nigerians working across will be better. And once that happens, then Nigeria will have strong economic power. The moment you have strong economic power, the next thing you will have very strong and powerful political power.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bala Zakka, Energy and Public Affairs Analyst, for bringing us this insightful perspective on Daybreak on Trust Television this morning.
Thank you.
All right.